Welcome back to Suburban Black Girl, episode 47. Cheers. Back on the liquor.
Yeah, back at it. Well, we're going to continue our 4-part series. We are on part 2 today. This series is called The Dilemma of a Woman in Her 30s. And so today's topic, we are going to be discussing the career crossroads. We're talking everything from success, burnout, reinvention, corporate politics, and work from home balance. So we're all going to be just discussing about, we're being 30. We're often climbing, pivoting, or possibly potentially questioning if the hustle is worth it. With that being said, do you feel more pressure to have it all together in your 30s career?
Career-wise, yes. Compared to the last episode where we were talking about having it all together and being married and having children, I don't feel any pressure in that area, but I think I do put pressure on myself career-wise. But I don't know if that more has to do with age, or I've kind of always been that way. I've always wanted to succeed at work and grow and be promoted and elevate. So I don't know. I've always been that way. So I don't know if turning 30 kind of made that more prominent or not. I don't think so. I think I've just always been this way. I think maybe not career-wise, but I think lately I've been even more just focused on my financial goals though, and wanting to buy a home soon or just things like that. So I think maybe a little bit of pressure on myself, just wanting to reach certain financial milestones, maybe. Yeah, actually.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Right now, I definitely feel as though I'm just wanting to learn more in my career. And I'm just at the stage of really working for a company where it's really challenging me in a lot of ways and I'm growing a lot, which is what I needed. Because, there's some companies that you go into where it's kind of they're expecting you to know what you're doing all by yourself and do it all without help or maybe agencies or resources or a team to kind of help you execute fully all the way. And that's kind of what I'm used to.
Yeah.
So for the first time, I'm really working with a team that is so experienced, so intelligent, knows what they want. I have a boss that has led a lot and done really big projects for other big companies. So it's I'm finally getting a chance to really learn. And that's something to me that I've always really wanted because I've always felt as though I've been self-taught at every other company until now. And for me, I really needed to learn some of those tactical things when it comes to marketing and just communications as a whole. So I think I'm definitely getting that working at a very corporate company, but there are strengths and weaknesses to all of that. So right now I would say I'm in my growing era. And so I'm not putting a lot of pressure on myself right now. I'm just taking the time to not be so hard on myself for not knowing everything and just learning as I'm going, because it's I'm learning just a lot of new things. So I'm excited for that because I know wherever I go next, I'll be able to implement and bring those things into wherever I go next. So
yeah,
I like the phase that I am in.
Yeah. And I think sometimes when you're in the thick of it, it feels extremely challenging and stressful. But I think in those moments, sometimes what helps me is that it is a means to an end.
Right.
And you're learning new skills and you can take it into your next role. That will be a better title, more money, whatever. So it's a little bit of a struggle now, but it's a means to get you to the next level. That's how I look at it. So
yeah, definitely, because not every role we get, you're going to be the boss. You know what I mean? Or you're going to lead a team or manage certain individuals up underneath you. And I've done that in previous roles. So this being the first time where it's I'm actually not the leader. It's interesting, but I'm actually enjoying it because like I said, I'm growing and I'm learning so much, and it's exactly what I prayed for and what I actually needed. So
yeah.
Especially for me, trying to build my own business on the side, I'm I need to learn certain things if I want to do this full time. So that honestly is the honest truth as to why, I chose a role that I could actually learn in. Because like I said, I'm just tired of being self-taught. It's I'm only learning and knowing so much doing it by myself.
But what you just said is the means to an end, right? It's okay, you're going through this hard learning period now, But eventually, when you're fully working for yourself full time and you have all the knowledge and the expertise, then, it's paying off.
Exactly. Very strategic, girly.
Right.
Have you ever experienced burnout in your career?
Yes, currently.
Yeah, tell us about that. Like, how is that going?
I guess I'm in a frustrating-ish period right now, but also just looking at the glass half full. I started this job October 1st, 2024. So I'm almost coming up on 1 year.
Woohoo.
But I've legitimately, now I'm on my third boss. They fired my boss in January. Then I was reporting to someone else and she left in July. So now I'm on my third boss. And
Which started recently, right?
Mid-July.
Okay.
So each time I've gotten more and more responsibility, but my title and pay has not updated accordingly. And it's definitely a lot more work. I've been working through sick days. I literally had tonsillitis and was working. I've been working through vacation days. And I get, once you get to a certain level, working late or answering an email or two or having to log on to do something quick while you are on vacation, that just is part of the job once you get to a certain level. But I think the burnout part for me right now is I'm feeling like my actual title and my compensation doesn't match the work that I'm now doing because 2 people have left.
Yeah.
So that's why I just said means to an end. It's like I'm just keeping my head down, still trying to keep a positive attitude because I already know the promotion is going to come. The title will come.
Yes.
And then eventually I can take that title and get it and go somewhere else, So those are the hard parts of your career where you just have to stay head down till it pays off and remain patient. And so I think that's just the season I'm in right now. But what I will say, and we've talked about this before, is the day that I was working on vacation and I was asked to do a couple of slides and join a meeting on my day off, only for me to join said meeting and my slides were completely skipped over. So essentially it was a complete waste of time on my off day, was the day that I put time on HR's calendar and said, okay, what are we doing here? What's the plan for me to be promoted? And I think keeping your head down and working hard does not mean suffering in silence.
Yeah.
And I was just having this conversation the other day, and we've talked about it before. I think something that I don't think it comes inherently within us as Black people is just advocating for ourselves.
Yeah.
But closed mouths don't get fed. And so I had to put that time on with HR and make it very clear, okay, what's going on here? What is the timeline? Because I could sit here and complain and complain and complain, or I can do something about it and advocate for myself. So I did that a few weeks ago, and this week I'm going to put more time and follow up.
Hello.
There's going to be times, unfortunately, where it's I'm doing somebody else's job and not getting compensated for it, and that's the sacrifice now.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to just let it slip through the cracks and keep basically working for free.
Right.
So I always say in certain races, audacity is in their DNA. And I don't feel like we are built like that. And I think a lot of Black women, we're not built like that. We have to learn how to advocate for ourselves. And that's something that I've had to learn as I've gotten older and grown in my career. But it's also something I've watched my mom have to do. And then she tries to instill in me is whatever they offer you, don't accept it. Always counter and always negotiate. And that's just not my personality. I think for most of us, that's the case.
Right. It's kind of
we're just not aggressive like that. So that's been a growth area for me career-wise.
And honestly, everything you're saying, I know that's something that we can all relate to. I know in all of our careers at one point, there's going to be a lot of organizational changes that you're going to go through. And some of us, it does happen when you first start a job or when maybe you're in the midst of a big project and you're just kind of what the heck do I do? And you're leading everything. So what advice would you give to someone that may be going through this same situation, but they're hesitant to reach out to HR because what if their fear is, oh my gosh, I'm reaching out to HR. Is my boss going to be mad that I'm reaching out to HR and involving HR? What if someone is scared to take that step? Because some people, it is very scary sometimes to reach out to HR.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
It's
a
bold.
good question. That's a good question.
HR has such like a negative stigma, but my HR lady, they're nice.
Same.
So
Same.
I don't know.
And I know
plays a
that's not the
factor.
case everywhere.
Right.
In that case, right, like I'm swamped, I'm overwhelmed, but also you kind of have to look at it like the ball is also in your court because they can't afford to now lose you.
Come on.
You know, if they've already lost 2 people, if they're already understaffed, they also cannot afford for you to quit and leave.
Yeah.
You know, so I think maybe that can sort of offset the fear of speaking up is like, they need you just as much as you need this check. I get people don't want to lose their jobs. Like we all have bills to pay. But in a situation like that, they cannot let you quit right now just as much as you also need that job. Speaking of that, though, always keep your resume updated.
Very true.
Always keep it updated on LinkedIn, on your computer, or wherever. Have an updated copy because you never know what can happen. But you also never know who might reach out to you. So stay ready so you don't got to get ready.
Yeah. Because people I know, when they get those big dream job companies, they'll be like, I got poached. And I'm like, wow.
Yes. Yes.
Which is so much better and that's so much easier.
Yeah. My
So
boss
you're
that
to
just
point.
left, yeah, she was poached. She said she wasn't looking.
That's the perfect.
And that's what recruiters do.
Yeah.
They'll just poach people from like companies, you know? So stay ready so you don't got to get ready.
Hello? That's the easiest way to be poached because then it's like, you're going to pay whatever I want.
Right. Exactly.
Have you ever had to choose between work and personal life?
I guess some nights if I'm like working late. Yeah, that's happened. Not very often. Yeah, there's been times where I've lacked work-life balance and maybe it's affected if I wanted to go out to dinner that night or if I wanted to get up early and work one morning and it's like I can't do anything the night before. I've got to just get up early and get on my laptop and get some stuff done. So yeah, there's been moments where there's been lack of balance.
Right. It's inevitable, you know, especially like, and it annoys me, especially those days where you're kind of like, okay, I don't have anything on my calendar. Today should be an easy, smooth selling day. I have time to do this or entertain that person or whatever it may be. And the day comes and it's like a crazy day.
Yep.
And nothing you wanted to do goes according to plan because now you've got all these random meetings on your calendar and your boss is asking for things. That just happened to me. And it is hard sometimes, right? Because we always say there's no such thing as work-life balance. I do try my best to balance it, but there are times where, you know, I fall short in personal life or in work life.
Yeah.
It's hard though. It is very hard.
Well, I don't know how this just slipped my mind that quick, but also when I was on vacation on the beach last week and was getting pinged to do something like that was sacrificing my literally my personal life. I'm on PTO and I'm literally getting messages that say, hey, I know you're in Barbados, but honestly, I did maybe 1 or 2 things, but after that I was like, this can wait.
Come on.
I'm on vacation. I'm 2 steps away from the beach and I'm actually getting overwhelmed right now when this is my time off.
Right.
And yeah, I just kind of set that boundary and was like, I'll look at this tonight. I'm at the beach right now.
Right.
And that was just it. Because nothing is that urgent as it seems. I always say, unless you are a nurse or whatever, like shout out to my nurse friends, they're actually saving lives. I'm not. I'm not. I'm selling beauty products. So I'm not saving anybody's life with what I'm doing. So nothing is that urgent.
They're like, help, the price is off by 2 cents.
Yeah, no, it's never that serious for me to be completing a deck about last month's performance while I'm supposed to be on the beach. We all know what it was.
Yeah.
This is just a formality.
And I hate when people just don't go find it themselves. Like it's on a certain platform. That way it's accessible to all of us.
Right.
You didn't even try to dig for it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I definitely do not like the personal text when I'm on PTO.
Yep.
You emailed me, you Slacked me, and now you're texting me. It's like, well, clearly I'm not going to answer yet, but I will get to it when I get to it. But it is important to set those boundaries because I've talked about it before, but you know, I've been in roles where I always answered no matter what, even if I was on vacation or not. And I learned the hard way because even when I was on vacation, they treated me as if I wasn't, you know? So now I'm very strict on my boundaries as in I'll reply, but I'll get to it when I get to it. Don't expect a quick turnaround or, hey, I can do it right now. It's like, get somebody else to do it.
Literally.
Like I am on vacation, but you know if it's something you urgently need to do or do it at a certain time. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, if it's in like something requested from the CEO or a VP, then yeah, you probably should do it. But
Yeah.
if not, it can wait when it needs to be
Literally.
done. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Don't get fired over it, right?
Heavy on the get somebody else to do it.
Hello?
Truthfully. It was never that serious.
9 times out of 10, it really actually isn't. It's kind of like, you guys are only bugging me because you know I'm on vacation. Sometimes I feel like companies do that. Like, This is a good question for you, just based off what you were saying earlier. Do you ever feel guilt for wanting more than your current job offers?
No, I've
Period.
never felt guilty about leaving a job.
Yeah.
Like, I've felt like sad. Maybe I was going to miss some of my coworkers. I still stay in touch with them. This is the first job where I really had like a team under me. So like if I were to leave, I would feel bad about that. But I've never felt bad about leaving a job. No, not even a little bit. $1 billion companies, you think I'm going to feel bad for leaving? No.
Right. Especially if it's not to start my own thing, like, bye.
No, I've never hesitated to leave.
And that's a good mindset to have, because some of us hold so much loyalty to such a certain companies.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest, they don't care about you. So why would you care about them, right?
No, and you are just another name on a list. And yeah, no. And I think I've said this on this podcast before, but I always remember what somebody told me, that like your career is going to happen in bursts. And usually those bursts are when you leave a company, because the little steady 3% raises you're getting every year are not going to grow you. And I honestly think that's why I've grown in my career, and people are like, I don't know, I'm definitely younger than a lot of the people that I'm on calls with, because I haven't been afraid to leave.
Yeah, that's true.
And every time I've gotten like solid raises just by leaving the company, because you're not going to get them staying somewhere long term.
There's only one company I've ever worked for that would give you increments of not 3 to 5%, but more like $5,000 plus increases, and I'm like, I'll probably never, my dad was always like, you'll never see a company like that ever again. Take it while you can. And he's right, so that's why I believe in hopping around, right? You give a little time until I feel as though this is where I really should be. But yeah, no, definitely still in my like hopping around area, because I've seen an increase just doing that over the last 5 years of my career, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And I'm not saying hop around like you're changing your job every 6 months. That doesn't look good.
No.
That doesn't look good on your resume.
Not every 6 months is crazy.
No, but I will reword what I said. I have not been afraid to leave once I feel like I've plateaued.
Yeah.
Fair. So
right now I'm in like I'll hop around like every 2 to 3 years.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, which is fair. Yeah, you definitely don't, because then it looks sketchy if you're hopping around like every year or less.
Yeah.
And even that, it's kind of, you got to be careful of that as well, because it's kind of like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. But also this is just reminding me, like, obviously I was just in Barbados for 2 weeks, and just like being on the island, living island life, whatever, it makes you like have to think about like, what do you really want out of your life? And I used to, and this is not nice of me, but I definitely always used to like look at people sideways or judge people that just like stayed at the same company for 30 years and they were just fine being in that role. And that was it. I was having this conversation about my own career, and it's like, what's next? If I just stay and ride the wave, my mind instantly went to, well, what am I supposed to be, complacent? And I think that's part of the culture that we live in. That's just like hustle culture, that it's like you freaking live to work.
Yeah.
And you live to make more money so you can buy more shit. And it's like a vicious cycle that we're in. And I feel like I always used to low-key side-eye or judge people that were just fine being in the same role for years on end. And I don't know. I feel like lately I've been getting a different perspective where it's like, is that really complacency, or it's just living a more peaceful life? Like, you show up, you take your vacation days, you get your paycheck, you spend time with your family, you have work. Because what is the line, right? Because as I am growing and about to get more money and a better title once I get promoted, but here I am in Barbados on the beach with my laptop.
Right.
And I feel like now I'm getting to the point of like, okay, what is most important? Because I used to have insane work-life balance. I used to be doing stuff in the middle of the day.
I would literally be like, Blake, are you sure you work? Like, I was with you for days on end. I'm like, you actually don't work. You didn't take PTO. You're like showing me around the city all day. I'm like,
yeah. But again, I also prayed for this. I prayed for a different title. I prayed for a different salary.
Yeah.
But again, you get what you pray for, but then there's
Right.
also things that come with it. I guess that's what that vacation made me. It made my wheels start spinning of like, what is most important to me? And I think that's also where like the means to an end was coming from. This is not about to stress me out. This is a means to an end. I'm going to get the title. I'm going to get more money and ride it out. But, you know, I think everybody's goal is to be director, VP. And it's like, I think I always used to judge the people that didn't want to grow. But I'm guilty now. I'm getting a different perspective where it's like the balance in your mental health and spending time with your family and whatever else is way more important, you know. And I'm not talking about striving because you want to pay your bills. Like there's a certain point where you can pay your bills and you're good.
Yeah.
What are you striving for more for? Is it to support your family or whatever? Or is it because you want to buy nicer clothes? And you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it just, anyway, being gone for that 2 weeks just got my wheels spinning, especially because I'm on a beautiful tropical island and I'm still feeling anxiety because people are still pinging me knowing that I'm on PTO.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. And that is my biggest question is how far do I want to go? Because you realize, you know, the higher you climb the corporate ladder, the more people are, they're depending on you. You know, it's like regardless of what you have going on in your personal life, you still have work to do. Mm-hmm. And, you know, at my current role, it broke my heart. My boss just lost his mother and he's still emailing. And I'm like,
yeah,
you can't even grieve because we're in the middle of a huge project. Mm-hmm. So it's like, even though he flew back home immediately to his family, he was still working. And I'm like, no, you just lost your mother. Yeah. Like, you should be able to grieve and spend time with your family and completely unplug. You know what I mean? And it sucks that he could not do that. And it just made me once again continue to question, how bad do I want this? And what do I really want? So it's crazy that you just asked that because that's something I'm asking myself now is, what do I really want? Because I think the same thing. Every time I'm on vacation, I'm like, this is what I live for. Right. So how can I do this to where it's like I can feel as though I don't feel bad for putting in PTO? Like some companies or your supervisors or coworkers will shame you for doing PTO or going on vacations. Like, dang, where are you going now? It's like, girl, I'm gonna use this PTO. I don't know what y'all got going on here.
Yeah.
Like, that is crazy. So to be honest with you, for me, that's also why I'm trying to grow my business on the side, because I'm like, there's only so much that I can give my full-time job, because it's like, I'm trying to build that, but also work. And it's like, for me, it's like, I need to find a way to like just work for myself, because I don't like being bothered when I've actually put in PTO or I shouldn't be working at the moment. Mm-hmm. It's like, I really just want to find a way to just work around my own clock. And I feel as though if I continue to grow on the corporate ladder and climb, that I'm really not going to have that peace and the work-life balance that I really truly want and desire. Yeah. Like, I honestly want to go to Europe for a month and not feel bad about it. Mm-hmm. Like, I need to figure out how to get to that point. And honestly, I don't think I can do that, continue to climb the corporate ladder. Like, I don't think I'd have a job when I get home.
Yeah. No, seriously.
So it's crazy you say that, because that's really what I'm questioning myself right now. And I've been praying through it. Like, what does the future look like?
Yeah. And I notice it. I noticed it there while I was in Barbados, but I also noticed it since I've been home. Like, it's affected my ability to relax even when I don't have to work. So like days that I did not have to get up and immediately log on, I'm struggling to sit still because I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something.
Yeah.
And even since I've been home, I feel like I've been dreaming so much, which to me means my mind is very active. Mm-hmm. I feel, they always say when you remember your dreams, it's not restful sleep. Mm. And I feel like I'm feeling that, like I've been dreaming a lot. So I'm tired still.
Yeah.
And yeah, even though it's the weekend, I feel like I'm still like, what do I need to do? And it's affecting my ability to relax, which is also not good.
Mm-hmm. No, it's crazy. Because I was literally just on the phone with my mom a few hours ago, and I tried to sleep in, but it's like I literally couldn't. I told her, I said, I have so much going on that like my mind could not rest. Like I was laying in the bed with my eyes closed, but I was not resting because I'm thinking of all the stuff I have to do. And I'm like, this is just not okay.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted right now.
I used to be able to nap. I can't nap anymore. I don't think my mind doesn't really allow it. Unless I have to be very exhausted. Very tired.
Oh yeah. Pray for us. But you know what? We're just going to keep saying it's just the season. It's temporary.
Yeah.
Do you feel supported in corporate spaces as a Black woman in her 30s?
I will say I feel like this is probably not most people's experiences, but I feel like I've been very lucky to have good bosses. Honestly, almost every job I've had.
Wow. That's really good.
My first job when I worked in New York and I worked for Steve Madden, I'm still very close to her to this day. She always advocated for me to get a raise. She always advocated for me to be promoted. She's like still my reference for every job to this day, and like
that's beautiful.
Raves, about me. So I was very lucky there. I've always had very chill bosses. And I've told this story before. On election day last year, when I was working and I literally could not function and everybody around me is just like, it's another day. And I could not focus on anything. And I had 2 female bosses that understood, and they let me go back to my hotel room and take calls from my hotel room. That is not normal, right? Normal experience. But I think I was lucky to have 2 female millennial bosses who did not vote for that man. Yeah, I think I've just gotten very lucky. And even now, when I've gone to talk to HR, it's been a very welcoming and open conversation. So I think I've just been very, very fortunate.
That's such a blessing because honestly, I feel like if you do a percentage of do people have good bosses or bad bosses, I think most people be like horrible.
Yeah.
Hate my boss, right? I feel the most supported now in my current role, but never have I ever until now. I've always been a little more hesitant or uneasy or didn't feel as though I'm fully supported or empowered. But now I definitely feel that, which is great, and it's something I definitely was looking for and needed. So it's important to have that because I don't feel as though I'm walking on eggshells at work. I don't feel as though I have to code switch. I literally can be myself and show up as who I am and show my full personality. And that's something that my boss embraces. My boss is also gay, so I think that plays a factor.
It does.
So it's so funny the way we talk to each other sometimes and the stuff he says. So it does help. So I'm fortunate to have that.
Do you girl him, or is that taking it too far? Does he girl you?
We don't girl, but sometimes the tongue will come out. It's the little things, or it's that, that little eyebrow raise. It's the little subtle movements, But it's funny. But at least it's we're comfortable. He's comfortable cussing in front of me. I don't try to cuss like that, but it's definitely very it's a very open dialogue always. And, recently we had a small outing and he was asking me a question and I kind of got deep with him. And he was just like, thank you so much for sharing that with me. I was just talking about, being an African-American woman. He's basically asking me, what I felt like growing up in California and what's the difference between Texas and what do I like better. And I was just telling him how comfortable I feel in Texas. And I was just telling him, being Black in America in Texas, in Houston in particular, is so much better for me and how comfortable I feel. And, he talks about colorism, things like that. And he just really embraced that conversation with open arms. And, he was really sweet about it. So that stuff is important, right? Because we've never gone that deep. And I felt as though afterwards that made us closer. And I think it's important to, if you feel comfortable sharing, just like he does with me, it's good to have those moments with your bosses because it deepens your connection and your relationship.
I agree. Yeah. One of my bosses from when I first started this job, she's not my boss anymore, but she came to Houston for, what's one of the golf things? The Open, or no, the Masters. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
There was one of those big golf tournaments. So she came here with her boyfriend and we went to Lock Bar and had a drink. And it was just very nice, even though I literally don't work with her anymore, but we still stay in touch and that's nice. And I'll also say
did she get a new job?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
She did. She works for Milk Makeup now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Damn, I love that primer.
I know. I love their primer. I was just about to say their primer is so good.
Good for her.
Yeah. So I would say that's another thing too, is I'll be quick to leave, but I don't burn bridges. Don't burn bridges because, and this is the perfect example. This just happened this week because I think it depends on your industry, but a lot of industries are very, very small.
Yeah.
And ironically, my old boss that just left in July texted me yesterday morning or 2 days ago. Mm-hmm. She's like, my best friend just had dinner with your mom. I'm like, huh?
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So random.
And how does she know it was your mom? Because the last name?
No, me and my mom don't even have the same last name.
Oh,
she's
remarried.
She know? Probably because she was like, oh, my daughter works for...
Oh my gosh.
And then, so she probably, I don't know. I didn't get all the details. Yeah, I still haven't talked to my mom on the phone this week.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's like certain industries are just very small.
Oh,
so it's like, advocate for yourself, speak up. But even if you feel like you're underpaid, overworked, whatever, you don't ever want to give somebody the opportunity to say she sucked at her job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So like, do a good job. Don't burn bridges. Put your fake smile on and keep your resume updated. And once you have the opportunity to leave if that's what you need or want to do. But the way you can work with somebody again, or even over the last few months, I've had so many people, I don't know if it's because my company is one of the only ones hiring or what, but I've had like 5 different people reach out to me on LinkedIn asking me to refer them for things. It's just like, you never know. So stay in contact with people. Relationships are everything. I always hated that, but it's true because I wouldn't have my job now if I did not stay in contact with somebody who referred me.
Right.
So,
yeah. No, and I totally agree with that to your point, because even for me now, I mean, as you know, like, even though I've left a previous company, I still help them out.
Exactly.
Via contract sometimes.
Exactly. And that's great. Solely because of who you are.
Yeah.
Because, they don't be fucking with people like that.
Right.
So that's solely because of who you are in the job that you did.
And that's important, right? So it's like, it just reminds me to like put your best foot forward, leave on a high note, leave positively, help when needed, and you just never know what the future holds. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. You just never know when you'll need that again. Mm-hmm. So we had a viewer that reached out specifically asking about Blake's remote lifestyle. Like, how did you get into it? It's something that they're trying to get into. And, I want to ask you a few questions, like just regarding like your remote work life and how you got into it. Mm-hmm. So do you feel more freedom or more pressure working outside of a traditional office?
Oh, I think you have to have boundaries. And honestly, I don't want to compare it to entrepreneurship, right? But you have to kind of have better boundaries like with yourself, because the thing is, when it's 5 o'clock at your office and you can get up and leave and drive home, but I've caught myself barely moving from my desk between 8 to 6 p.m. because I'm in meetings, I'm working, and next thing you know, I haven't gotten fresh air for the entire day. I haven't gotten an ounce of vitamin D, So I think you kind of have to get yourself on it's kind of like during COVID. I think a lot of people had a hard time during COVID because it's like especially if you lived alone.
Yeah.
You're not getting human like I've caught myself like not having a human, well, I'm different because I don't really mind it. But I've caught myself not having human interaction for several days, barely getting fresh air, not exercising. So I think you have to like get yourself into a routine. But also, there's benefits to it. If I can have the time, then I can run out sometimes like during a lunch break and run to the gym quickly. And so that's the part of it that I do enjoy. And I enjoy the part of it where if I want to go visit family in New York or Connecticut or whatever for a week, I can do that. I just was working from Barbados. Like that's the good part about it, is being able to work from anywhere. And honestly, I use less vacation days because I don't need to be in an office physically. So I mean, there's pros and cons, but I'm not even going to say that they're cons. It's just you almost have to be a little bit more disciplined with yourself, because I think in a sense you can almost get even more burnt out because there is no separation. And I was even having this conversation a couple of days ago. I was like, I honestly think I need to solely like work in my home office, close the laptop and close the door. Because I'll like work from the office, work the kitchen, the couch, whatever. And it's like, there's no cutoff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think I need to be better with that. But also even like I take advantage of it from the sense that I'll work from a different state, but I don't take advantage of it enough, like leaving the house to go work at a coffee shop.
Yeah, no, you know me, I would.
Yeah,
What?
see, I don't do that enough, and I need to just to get myself out of the house.
Agreed.
So, and again, this, I don't even want to remotely sound out of touch. I'm just saying you have to give yourself the structure that you don't have in an office.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you actually can get very burnt out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Remote life is great, but let's be honest, I don't think everyone has the discipline to do so, right? And that's what I was thinking about. Like, I feel like you have to have extremely strong boundaries with that.
Mm-hmm.
What sacrifices have you had to make when it comes to your remote life, whether it's your lifestyle in regards to just your financial, social, or any other things?
So how, I guess, the remote stuff happened for me was I worked for Steve Madden. I graduated college in 2016. I was working there for 4 years. So this is 2020. COVID hits. And I was living in like 450 square feet in the Bronx.
Ooh.
And literally March of 2020, my mom's like, you need to come here now. And she's in Virginia in the suburbs. And I'm thinking I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. And I was there for 2 months. So I left it was like around March 18th. And I didn't go back to New York till Memorial Day weekend. And so that whole time I'm like in the suburbs and everything's closed, but I'm like exercising outside. I'm obviously staying in a house versus a studio apartment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I could have such a better quality of life if I just didn't live in New York. Not that I don't love New York, but that's how I started looking at apartments in Houston and whatever. So I told my job, even though we were all remote at the time because it was the height of COVID.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, even though nobody was in the office. And at that point, speaking of feeling like you're plateauing, I felt like I was plateauing. So, and this is what I'm saying, where you can only do this when you have the upper hand. I knew they could not fire me because they already had people furloughed because it was COVID. And yeah, there was no one else to do the work. So I went ahead and moved to Houston anyways. So I moved to Houston July 31st, 2020.
Wow.
And they gave me, I think, my last day. So they just gave me a last day like ahead of time because they needed time to hire my replacement and whatever. It was like December 1st or something like that. So I got to Houston and I had time to like apply for jobs. And obviously it was like that was a risk.
Yeah,
like I literally said F
risk.
y'all and moved anyway.
That. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So I ended up finding another job, but like Steve Madden is obviously a retailer. I ended up switching to working for an agency because at the time, and I even think now agencies are more open to remote work than brands are. So that was my first agency that I ever worked with, but it was a $10,000 pay cut. But again, all of this sounds very risky and silly, but I had time to find a new job, 1. 2, the pay cut essentially was offset by the cost of living difference between New York and Texas. So it was a risk, but it wasn't that bad of a risk because I'm not paying state taxes. Whereas when you live in New York, you pay state and New York City taxes if you live and work in New York City. It's like another 1.7 or something % that comes out of your check on top of federal, on top of state.
No, I'm good on that.
Right. So then when you move here, you're only paying federal. On top of, actually, my rent ended up being the same. My little box in New York was $1,400 in 2020. And I moved into a luxury apartment building here, but they messed up the rent. It was supposed to be $2,000, but they accidentally put it up for $1,400. And I was literally stalking their website. So I caught it, applied for it, put the deposit down without even seeing the apartment. So my rent actually ended up being the same, but I had like 1,800 square feet versus 450.
Wow.
I had washer and dryer. I walked out. I had a balcony. I could see the pool from my balcony. I had a concierge here versus in New York, I had washer and dryer in the building, that's a luxury living in New York. Having it even in the building was a luxury, but a gym, I didn't have any of that in New York. So for me, it was like, I'm paying $1,400 for way more space, double the space, way more amenities, whatever. So
damn, those New York apartments don't have gyms inside?
Some of the luxury ones do. I lived in a gentrified building.
Okay.
So it was an older building that they remodeled.
Okay, I see.
But yeah.
Damn, even you're paying 14.
And that was $1,400 in 2020.
Yeah.
That apartment today is probably, I kind of want to look it up. Oh, wow. My exact apartment is now $1,650.
I felt like I would think it would go more than that.
It was pretty high up in the Bronx. So it's probably location.
I see.
But yeah, $1,400 to $1,650 in 5 years. Was also rent stabilized, which is a thing. I don't think that's a thing anywhere else but New York.
Yeah, because here it goes up every year.
It goes up, but they can only raise it by a certain percent. Yeah. So anyways, that's why I was able to make that risk. I will say, unfortunately, I wish I could give better advice than this, but I think it was just the times. COVID was way easier to find a remote job. Now they're forcing everybody back into the office.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's my industry, but that was my first remote job. I've gotten 3 more. So right now I'm on my 4th remote job since 2020.
Wow.
But
it's a blessing.
It is. I think it's 1, an industry thing. 2, it was definitely easier working for agencies because 2 of those were agencies. But also, when I was at my last job and I knew I wanted to leave, plenty of opportunities came my way to work in office. Like when I was in LA or even to move back to New York, people still reach out to me. But I specifically held out looking for something remote. So it's kind of like a patience is a virtue type thing because that's what I wanted and that's what I prayed for.
Yeah.
There's going to be plenty of opportunities that come your way to go back into an office. And honestly, even being hybrid today in 2025 is a blessing because they're really forcing people back 5 days a week. So I held out. I think I started updating my resume in April. I didn't start this job till October 1st.
Wow.
So I held out wanting a remote job.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's how dedicated I was to
seriously, because that's almost 6 months, right? This is a good one. What skills or tools do you think are non-negotiable for someone trying to stand out when applying for a remote position? Because let's be honest, when you're applying for a remote job, those are the jobs that have the most applications. Because, right? Who doesn't want
and to be honest, I applied for my current job and I knew somebody who knew somebody. If I'm being honest. So it's not even your tools or your resume. It's who you know, sadly. So I would say if you don't know somebody, I would find the hiring manager on LinkedIn, reach out to them, connect with them, introduce yourself directly. But yeah, I would say it's about who you know, leverage your network, but also reach out to people, show up places in person, show your face.
Yeah, no, I agree with that because it's just another applicant. So you have to find a way to make it personal.
Yeah.
I know someone that works for a really big company now. A company we all know, but I'm not going to say it. It's an automotive company. And the way they got their position is, of course, they apply like everyone else and their resume just sat there for months.
Yep.
And you want to know what they did? They delivered pizza to one of their locations.
Show up in person.
Yeah. And the manager for the location was impressed and was like, hey, I do actually remember seeing your resume cross our desk multiple times, and gave him a shot.
Period.
Over pizza for the whole team. And it's the little things, right? So it's just thinking outside the box. So I agree with that.
That literally reminds me of a story. I was reading this book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I have that and still have not read it. I've read it. I've started it, but I've never finished it. I've started it multiple times and never finished it. But he tells a story. I forget who it was. It wasn't Henry Ford. I don't remember. Or maybe it was Henry Ford. And this guy, same thing, literally just showed up and said, I want to work for you. And that changed his whole life, his whole career.
Wow.
Sometimes you just have to be bold.
Yeah.
Like that.
You really do.
Again, which is not my personality.
I know it's hard. And it's there's ways to be bold, but obviously don't make it creepy. Don't make it stalkerish. But get creative with it. Honestly, we didn't have ChatGPT back then when we were trying to find these jobs. So I'm I know ChatGPT can give some great ideas of how to kind of make yourself stand out. But I agree. It's got to be some type of in-person connection.
It has to, because nowadays there were so many in that 6 months where I was applying for jobs and I'm like, my resume is this exact job and I'm getting automatic denials.
Yeah.
And you can tell it's something with the AI or whatever. And it's just filtering through your resume.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to figure out how you're going to force your resume on somebody's desk because it's probably getting filtered out.
Exactly.
For one thing you put, or if you put your salary expectations and it wasn't in the range, out. If you have 6 years of experience instead of 8, filtered out. So
it's crazy. There's so many different things that are going on with that. I think it's a good question. Is higher education, like a master's degree, still worth it in this economy? Or is it about the skills and the people that you know now?
To me, in my experience, it's been about the skills and the people that you know, because I have a master's degree and I don't think anybody has ever gave a shit, if I'm being honest. And that might vary by industry, but
right.
I don't think me having a master's degree has ever mattered. Not one time for any job I've applied to. I don't even think it's been brought up in any interview, not one single time.
Yeah, like I honestly don't have a master's degree. And it's one of those things that I was thinking of, like, once I graduated undergrad, being in the communications field, I'm like, do I need it? And the people I was talking to that have experience, that are in the field, were like, you literally just need experience. And honestly, that's the truth. Like, experience is everything I've ever needed. And I've never had a job or anyone ever asked me, even for my degree. So I do agree. It definitely depends, I think, on the industry you're in. But I tell people all the time, it's just like, get the experience, get the skills, familiarize yourself with the people. And, I've had people reach out to me because I've posted some of my like work life on TikTok. And so I'll have random people email me sometimes. Like, how did you get into marketing? Because obviously marketing, social media is really popular now. And I tell people, honestly, sometimes you have to be willing to work for free to an extent. Like, find a way to make money, but find your local coffee shop, find your local like boutique, and do marketing for them if that's something you want to get into for a month for free. Because the thing about marketing is you physically can see that growth, whether it's on social, engagement. Yeah, like it's one of those things where it's like you can actually see the results. And so that's something that I tell people all the time. You can't always expect to do it for free, especially when you're trying to get your foot in the door. Because it's like when you take it and you do that work for free, that's something you can add to your portfolio and take that to a company that you really want to work at that can pay you the money. And no offense, they don't know if that company pays you or not, but you have the results and the experience to prove it in your portfolio. So, sometimes you do have to kind of work for free, but of course, find other ways to make your money in the meantime. Because that's something I've noticed with this generation is they want it now. And it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't.
Shit, I've been guilty of that. I am this generation.
We all got to start somewhere.
Literally.
What would you tell your younger self about building a career with longevity?
I think I would say work hard, take pride in your work, because not your reputation, but your reputation's going to be everything. So people are going to nitpick, they're going to be racist, there's going to be microaggressions. But for me, you can never say I sucked at my job. So, ever. I don't care. I don't care if I walk away from a job and they're like, she wasn't that friendly, she was a little standoffish. Fine, I can live with that. But you will never be able to say I sucked at my job. Yeah. So I think, work hard, take pride in your work, keep your head down, stay focused. There's going to be times where you feel underpaid. There's going to be times where you feel undervalued. Sometimes you just have to like keep your head down and push through that. And like I said, look at it as a means to an end. We've talked about this, not in this episode, but before. If there's an opportunity for you to have a mentor or just learn from somebody that knows more than you, like soak up all the free knowledge that you can, and like you said, sometimes learning is not going to be pretty. There's not going to be a pretty handbook that's handed to you and processes in place. Like a lot of times you just learn by doing. But honestly, for me, that's been the best way I've learned. I've worked at a lot of chaotic companies or had chaotic bosses, but I've learned a lot. So soak up as much knowledge as you can even when you are in those roles, right? And you feel like you're doing 8,000 people's jobs. I would say look at the glass half full. Yes, you're going to be miserable because you might be working later. You feel like you're underpaid, but look at it as the glass half full is now you can add all that. You can add even more fluff to your resume.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you were the social media manager or whatever, even if you weren't. But if you were helping out or whatever, do you know what I'm saying though?
Did that, right?
Exactly. Like, look at the glass half full. Like, if you were overworked, that's great because you're getting a ton of experience and you can leave eventually, keep your resume updated. And so that's what I would tell myself and just be patient because it does come in bursts. And there's just hard seasons, hard periods of time where you feel undervalued, but it will all be worth it in the end. And you'll look back and be like, dang, I grew fast, or dang, I moved up fast. So
yeah. I think the biggest thing is never compare yourself to anyone else. You know, there's a lot of comparison when it comes to careers, especially when you're looking at your friends that are in completely different careers. Certain careers and industries take off quicker than others.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And that's something I had to remind myself of. I've said it before, but a lot of my friends kind of had a head start ahead of me because they were in careers that were more like frontline where you apply today and get the job tomorrow and start next week. And so that's something that you have to remind yourself is everyone's journey is different. And eventually you will be where you want to be, but take the time to go through it, right? But also, I used to think I would be like in just one job for a while for some reason, because that's what we've been told to do. That's what previous generations have done. But now it's just like, I'm going to do what makes me happy and take the leap, like take that risk. It's you have to take the risk when it comes to your career, you know, because you don't realize what's on the other side of that. Like it is such a breakthrough moment when you take those leaps of faith. No offense, I've still keep in touch with coworkers from previous companies and they are extremely unhappy because they're still kind of complacent in that same space and in that toxic environment. And sometimes it's hard to leave those toxic, you know, job environments due to your friends that you connect with or maybe other people. It's like, be willing to leave and start over. Sometimes I think we get so stuck in an environment because we're so used to it, it becomes comfortable. And it's like, you have to continue to stay uncomfortable to grow and elevate your life. It's honestly, it feels scary, but it's the best position to be in, especially when you hit that plateau, right?
Yeah.
Your journey in your career is not going to be anything like what you think it's really going to be. And I commend people that pivot, like definitely pivot because, you know, you never know what's on the horizon for you. So we've talked about it before too, like when you're younger in your 20s and you don't have kids or you're not married, move across the country. Like,
facts. I never thought I would have been here.
Yeah.
I never thought I would have been here.
Yeah. It's like, take that job in Chicago, DC, LA, like take that job, like start applying outside of where you live. Because if it doesn't work out, you just come back in a year or a few years, but take that risk while you're still young if you can. And that's all I have to say.
No, I fully agree with that, to be honest, because I feel like we know so many people that have moved away from their hometowns.
Yeah.
That maybe it feels normal for us and that might not be the case for everybody. But to be honest, I feel like COVID, although it was terrible, was the best thing that ever happened to me.
I can say the same.
Because it made me realize I wanted to leave and move to Texas. It gave me the opportunity to work remote. And obviously my life has changed moving to Texas. One little move can just set off so many things in your life that you literally do not realize. Like I would have never met Ashlyn. We would not have had this podcast. I wouldn't be in my current relationship. I wouldn't have met so many of the friends that I have now. Like if you have the opportunity to make the move and you can afford it, don't hesitate to take the risk, because I've moved and I've hated it and I've moved and I've loved it.
Yeah.
But either way, I learned lessons from it, or it helped me grow, or I met important people, or it helped me understand what I value and what I don't value. So take leaps if you can.
Yes.
Amen. And if you can't, be patient and hold out for what you want.
Very well said. Today's moment mantra is, your career is not a straight line. It's a journey. You're allowed to pivot, pause, and protect your peace. Success isn't defined by titles or timelines. It's defined by alignment. Keep choosing the version of you that feels most alive.
I love that. It's defined by alignment. And that's exactly what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it was all about climbing. And if you get to the point where you're not feeling fulfilled, then what's the point?
Absolutely. You've got to be fulfilled for sure. I really enjoyed today's episode.
Yes. Corporate baddies.
Yes.
Rise up.
Rise up and stand up.
Seriously. Okay, well, I hope that you guys got something out of this episode for the people that are thinking about shifting careers, just getting their careers started, people that have been in their careers for 30 plus years and maybe questioning if they still want to do it, because that happens too. So many people have gone to college for things and are not in that career at all. I've met people that went to college for music and they don't use that degree at all. So it's okay to pivot. Please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, DM us at Suburban Black Girl Pod, email us at suburbanblackgirlpod@gmail.com, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.